Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So I wasn't about to share the story, but my therapist told me that sharing my stories would help me. I usually share these type of stories with my brother-in-law, but I put too much stress on him already. So you read it, you get this messed up stuff. Also, some people ask for some more unhinged nonsense about my childhood, so here you go. This story is in bits and pieces in my mind as I try to block out a lot of the abuse my mom put me through. I think I was about 9 years old when I was diagnosed with autism. My mom wasn't happy because she didn't want an R word for a daughter in her words. However, my mother used my autism as a way to gloat. Your kid plays the piano? Well, my daughter has autism and knows how to play the violin and the piano. Oh, your kid likes fishing? Well, my daughter has autism and just recently caught a largemouth bass fish. Your child speaks Spanish? My daughter has autism and speaks several different languages. Your child reads at a middle school level? Well, my autistic daughter skipped a grade. And things like that, but my mom is a witch, so she treated me badly. When people were around, she was proud of me, but when we were in private, I was just a kid that would amount to nothing. One day, I went down to the kitchen and my mom and her friends were there. I said hi to the women and one of the women had a name that I could not pronounce. So when I said hi to her, I stumbled on her name, and that one incident started a chain of abuse. Imagine 4 women in their 20s making fun of a child to her face. So I stutter and cry, because that hurt my feelings. And one of them asked my mom how the hell did she get an R-word daughter, and my mom said she didn't know. It must be her father's DNA. I was just tired of my mom, so when she started making fun of me with her friends, I got pissed off and threw my glass at her. But sadly, my glass missed. It just went over her head. The witches went silent. They looked at me, and I looked at them crying, pissed as hell, like I was doing the Arthur Fest. Meme lords know what that is. I was that pissed. Then my mom grabbed me by the collar and slapped me. Then she hit me again, screaming at me with the usual horrible stuff she called me. Then my mom grabbed me by the hair and dragged me up the stairs. You know, so she could beat me properly without witnesses. Slaps became fists, and she kicked me in the stomach when I was down. When she stopped beating me, my mom washed my blood off her hands and went back downstairs to have fun with her friends. Meanwhile, I'm on the floor, crying in pain. Hours later, I was in excruciating pain, and it took one of our gardeners and my nanny to realize there was something seriously wrong with me. They convinced my mom to take me to the hospital, and we found out I had a broken arm, and I think my ribs were bruised also. My own mom broke my arm. My mom told everyone that I fell off the balcony, and I agreed with her that I fell off the balcony. My nanny and the gardener knew my mom did something to me. They saw how my mom was treating me, but they really couldn't do anything as my nanny only had a work visa. As I'm pretty sure the gardener was illegal too. Plus, my mom already got some of the house workers arrested for sexual assault. She even used my cousin to say something like, "One of the maids touched me in my no-no area." All my mom has to do is put on the puppy dog face and cry her little eyes out and boom. People believe her because she's a massive manipulator. So messing with my mom would cost you your life. And you are probably asking why didn't my mom's friends do anything to try and help. Well, I don't know. I don't think they know how bad my mom was beating me. Maybe they didn't know, maybe they were afraid of her, maybe they didn't care. All I know is I led that woman around my child, and I will never forgive myself. Some things from my childhood followed me to this day. A fear of women and a fear of my mom. I'm in therapy. I am going to get better, but they are going to take some time until I'm better. Maybe until that witch dies, I don't know. I'd probably feel better then. But yeah, I refuse to let my children suffer the same childhood as I did. My siblings didn't suffer the same childhood as I did. I took the abuse on purpose so they wouldn't have suffered. After a while, my mom stopped hitting me, cause she realized I would not stand for that nonsense and hit back. Luckily, my mom is currently locked up for trying to kill me, but that's a bigger story for a later time. So yeah. Background: I'm the second manager of a deli department in a large grocery store. The layout of my department is thus. From the entrance you have about 20 feet of sandwich bar. Then there is a little counter for a chick stand. Ends up being important. Then you have our sushi station, our Chinese hot case, the fried food hot case, entrance to the department, and then about 40 feet of fresh made salads and sliced meat counters. The whole department runs an easy 300 feet along the west wall. The important thing to know is that Chinese food and sushi are not our departments. They don't even work for the same company as I do. We work in the same space, but they are franchisees. Thus, at no time do we serve their food or do they serve ours. And as it is unfortunately pertinent to my story, the franchisees are a Burmese immigrant family. Finally, there is a lot of paraphrasing, but this accurately represents the testimony I gave in court. Part 1. The Lady. This all happens during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. Mostly our customers were great, but everyone was running high stress then. After the head boss leaves, I'm in charge. So I tried to hide in the back and do the cooking, only coming up when the front area needs extra hands. Anyways, this day I'm cooking or frying something or other, and I hear a commotion in the front. I hate customer service, but I'm really effing good at it. So I head over to see what's going on. There is an angry old lady just absolutely losing her mind at the Chinese hot case. I go over to figure out what the problem is. Hello ma'am, how can I help you? I want a 2-item combo. Half rice, half chow mein, peppered beef, and orange chicken. Yes, I remember her exact order. I gestured to Steve, the Chinese department chef. Alright then, my partner in crime will be able to help you with that. Not him, you. Give me my food. I'm sorry mama, we're two different departments, but Steve will be more than happy to. But I'm cut off. I want you to serve me, not him. Go give me my food. Well, I'm not allowed to cross departments, but Steve will be able to. I'm cut off again. I don't want that Asian slur to touch my food. Get it for me now. This goes on for a couple more exchanges. The gist is I try to bring her down. She keeps demanding I help her. So I go to my default and call a manager over the intercom. She keeps screaming and the manager gets there. And I try to explain the situation to him while she's still squawking more racial slurs the entire time. He tries 3 or 4 times to talk her down, but the angry old lady just keeps screaming for a white person to get her food instead of this slur. Y'all should probably know that my manager at this time was a big old Samoan dude. To his credit, he tried to talk her down 2 or 3 times. She kept crowing and then he shut her down. Mama, you are not allowed to shop here right now. Please leave the premises. Guess what? She kept screaming slurs and making demands. At this point, the other customers are talking rudely to her. I'm currently trying to get them to shut up politely, while my store manager is just insisting that this lady don't get to shop here anymore today. Angry old lady eventually gives up and storms out, never shutting up. She's going to sue us all. We're all going to be fired. All the cuss words and the works. She's also very insistent that her son is going to make us pay/kill us all. Also important for later. As she's leaving, I'm struck by inspiration. You see, I do customer service based on a strict script. Part of that script is a parting sentiment. You always let the customer know how much you appreciate them shopping with us. So as my very large Samoan boss is using his mask to gently herd the angry old lady out of the store, I shout out at the top of my lungs, "Thank you for shopping at our restaurant. Please come again." I'm not going to lie to you and say everyone clapped, but I got some very good laughs from the customer watching this whole ordeal. As a field stand-up comedian, I enjoyed it. After she finally left, my boss came up to me. Damn it, when you said that, it was all I could do to not laugh. Back to work and clear this line. So we did. I had some customers compliment me on how I handled the situation, which is nice. More importantly, my coworkers, who I deeply care about, also showed me their appreciation. That means a lot to me also. So that was very nice. All in all, if that had been the end of the story, I would have posted this in March 2020. But Part 2. The Sun. Same day, about 6 to 7 hours later, 9 p.m.-ish, the store is still open but the department is long since closed. Part of my duties is finishing up the cleanup at the end of the night. And at this particular moment, I was scrubbing the floors down by the sandwich area. Mop water all over the floor, hitting it with a deck brush so I can squeegee it into the floor sink. I even had one earbud in. I was listening to the Tim Sunk episode about Genghis Khan. I know that because it's in the court record. Then an angry voice yells, "You!" I look up, and I see a very angry young man. Y'all should know I'm 6'3" but skinny, and I've never fought a day in my life. This gentleman easily had 2 inches on me. Looked like he lived at the gym, and had several what I can only describe as a very prominent intimidating tattoos showing on both his face and arms. "Are you the jerk that disrespected my mother?" What? I hadn't figured out what was going on at this point. "You're the one that disrespected my mother." There is really no way to accurately express our conversation at this point. He's leaning up against our 5-feet sandwich bar counter, looking like a death incarnate going to break through the plexiglass. I'm confused at first, then terrified that this monster is angry at me once I realize what's happening. I do remember the last thing he said. "You're getting beat." Then he goes over to the sandwich bar check stand and vaults over it into the back counter area. You remember how I said it was cleaning the floor? Fast fact about the tile that's used in deli type areas. It gets very slick. We wear special shoes and still have problems if the floor is covered with water. I had not squeegeed any of the water from the area he landed in. So while I'm still thinking about using my deck brush as a hammer to defend myself, he lands and does a comical slide fall. And he hits hard. Feet slide out immediately upon contact and ends up landing on his head, like Looney Tune levels of impacts. The other employees up at the front check stand have noticed the commotion and come over by then. What am I doing at this point? Well, I've seen the video. There is a good 30 seconds of me standing with a stiff bristle brush over my shoulder like I'm going to blacksmith this guy who's lying on the floor in front of me, motionless. And there is blood. Blood in a pool of soapy water on an already red tile floor is kind of weird looking. I don't even like thinking about it now. One of my co-workers is already on the phone with the police and informs them that they are going to need an ambulance as well. 911 tells us not to touch him and they are there within 3 minutes. The professionals deal with everything then. Paramedics deal with the angry boy and I end up talking to the police for the rest of my shift. I didn't even have to finish the floors and still got an hour's overtime. Part 3. The Lawyers. This bit of the story is the longest period of time with the shortest amount of interesting stuff. As for myself personally, well, I'm union. This all happened at work and I needed to testify for it. I ended up getting 3 days off and fully paid for maybe 6 hours of deposition and maybe 15 minutes in a courtroom. Now to list my favorite points of this part of the whole ordeal. 1. I ended up going downtown and talking to an assistant district attorney, I guess, who stressed how to just say I don't know if I was asked about the specifics of the conversations that I had, and then they would legally lead me into expressing the conversation. Then her boss comes in and gets really pissy because I keep telling him I don't know. He and I did not get along. It might have been my fault, but we shouted at each other a lot. His office sent me a Christmas card though, so. 2. Turns out the son not only had multiple warrants in California, but he had several warrants in other states. The boss district attorney constantly whined about how this made his job harder. When the angry old lady was on the stand, she was exactly how I remembered her standing in line. She cussed every 5th word. Every other time she cussed it was racial. And she had nothing but disdain for the entire process of law. She's a damn dirty witch. But I can respect that. Other than her racism, that is. So yeah, that was my March 2020. I hope you all enjoyed this. In short, a guy leader of a gang didn't stop bullying me and my girlfriends. We were 12 or 13. No one could stop them. My best friend was the most bullied of all because she was bow-legged. It was so extreme, she had surgery years later to protect her lower vertebrae. She was also very thin, had bushy hair, shy, and mentally frail. Because her mother was mentally ill and she was the least liked of the 6 siblings, so I was very protective of her, gaining courage against bullies even though I was shy and not malicious like them. He and his 2 best friends had an ultimatum from school. One more detention and they would be expelled in the middle of the year. I was a straight A student, a model student. Which teacher would doubt my word? The main guy sat behind me for an essay exam. I was fuming, but I wrote my essay. Then I crumbled the paper and threw it out of the window. Got up immediately and said, "Teacher, he took away my essay," and he threw it away. The boy was shocked, being accused even being innocent. He had gotten away with misbehavior multiple times. Someone went down to recover my essay. We went to the principal's office and I swore he had thrown my essay away. He was expelled from school. Second boy, there was a canopy dirty and wet due to recent rain. I made sure no one was looking and shook up the ball, thus making the whole canopy collapse. This time me and my 2 best friends swore the boy had done it all by himself. The third boy, his parents called to apologize to me and my friends. The boy was crying in the back. She said she took his TV's privileges and vacation, and that it would never happen again. He was not expelled. We're even Facebook friends now. I am mellow now. But don't go mess up with 13-year-old me. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.